This video delves into a real event that has left an indelible mark on the lives of those who witnessed it, and the world at large. All information presented is meticulously sourced from public records, official reports, and verified news sources, ensuring that the facts are accurate and unbiased.
On March 13, 1997, thousands of people in Phoenix, Arizona bore witness to a phenomenon that would etch itself into the annals of history: a massive V-shaped UFO, known as the Phoenix Lights, that illuminated the night sky.
This incident has become one of the most witnessed and documented UFO sightings in history, sparking a wave of interest in the possibility of extraterrestrial life and leaving a lasting impact on the collective psyche of humanity. The sheer scale of the event, with estimates suggesting that up to 10,000 people witnessed the UFO, has led to a plethora of theories and explanations, each attempting to make sense of the inexplicable. You're watching Dark Verdict, where we investigate the cases that haunt us, and the Phoenix Lights incident is a prime example of an enigma that continues to fascinate and intrigue.
The incident occurred on a clear evening, with multiple witnesses describing the object as a massive V-shaped craft with bright lights that seemed to be suspended in the air, defying explanation.
The witnesses, who hailed from all walks of life, including a former governor of Arizona, described the object as being as large as a football field, a staggering size that only adds to the mystique surrounding the event. The witnesses reported that the object was completely silent, which added to the mystery of the incident, as one would expect an object of such enormity to produce some kind of noise or sonic boom. The silence was deafening, and it's this aspect that has led many to speculate about the true nature of the object and its origins. The investigation into the Phoenix Lights was led by the U.S. Air Force, which initially attributed the sighting to flares dropped by an Air National Guard aircraft, an explanation that seemed plausible at first glance. However, many witnesses disputed this explanation, citing the fact that the object was seen to be moving in a steady, deliberate manner, rather than drifting aimlessly like flares, which are known to be carried by the wind. The witnesses' testimonies, which were collected by the Air Force and other investigators, paint a picture of an object that was under control, moving with a purpose, and not simply drifting through the air like a flare. This discrepancy has led to a re-evaluation of the Air Force's explanation, with many believing that the true nature of the incident is far more complex and mysterious than initially thought. The incident remains one of the most intriguing unexplained aerial phenomena in history, with many theories attempting to explain what was seen that night, from the plausible to the downright bizarre. What many people do not realize is that the events of March 13, 1997 actually unfolded in two separate phases.
The first began around 7:30 in the evening, when a massive V-shaped formation of lights was spotted traveling south from Henderson, Nevada.
Witnesses in Prescott, Arizona, roughly 75 miles north of Phoenix, reported the formation passing overhead in near total silence before it continued south through the Phoenix metropolitan area and onward toward Tucson, covering an estimated 300 miles over the course of about 1 hour. The second event took place around 10 o'clock that night, when a row of bright, stationary lights appeared in the sky above the Estrella Mountains southwest of Phoenix. It was this second event that the military later attributed to illumination flares dropped by A-10 Warthog aircraft from the Maryland Air National Guard's 104th Fighter Squadron, which had been conducting training exercises at the Barry Goldwater Range that evening. Crucially, the flare explanation only addressed the second sighting.
The first event, the massive V-shaped formation traveling across multiple cities over the course of an hour, has never been officially explained by any branch of the United States military.
Where it stands today, the Phoenix Lights incident remains an unexplained phenomenon, with no conclusive evidence to prove what was seen that night, despite numerous investigations and inquiries. The incident has been the subject of much speculation and debate, with many believing that it was an extraterrestrial spacecraft, while others believe it was a man-made object, perhaps a top-secret military experiment or a drone. The incident has also been the subject of several documentaries and books, including the film Phoenix Forgotten, which explores the possibility that the incident was an extraterrestrial event, and the book The Phoenix Lights, A Skeptical Examination, which offers a more nuanced and skeptical look at the incident. The incident has also raised questions about the government's handling of UFO sightings, with many believing that the government is not being transparent about what it knows, and that there may be a cover-up of some kind. Among the most notable witnesses was Arizona Governor Fife Symington, who held a press conference in June 1997 where he appeared to mock the incident by having his chief of staff walk out in a rubber alien costume, drawing laughter from the press corps. However, a decade later, in March 2007, Symington publicly reversed course, telling reporters that he himself had witnessed the lights that night and that what he saw was enormous, inexplicable, and in his own words otherworldly. Frances Barwood, a Phoenix City Councilwoman at the time, was the only elected official who took the report seriously and launched her own informal investigation, ultimately collecting more than 700 first-hand witness accounts from residents across the valley. Lynn Kitty, a prominent Phoenix physician, had been photographing strange amber lights from her home near the Phoenix Mountain Preserve as early as January 1995, 2 full years before the mass sighting. She later produced a documentary and wrote a book, both titled The Phoenix Lights, compiling witness testimony and photographic evidence she had gathered over the years. Actor and pilot Kurt Russell also came forward, revealing that he had been flying his private Cessna into Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport on the night in question and had personally radioed the control tower to report the unusual lights, only to be told there was no corresponding air traffic in that area of the sky. In another case, a hunter in rural Arizona discovered the body of a teen girl in October 2020, a discovery that would send shockwaves through the community and raise more questions than answers. The girl, known as Artesia Doe, has still not been identified, and the circumstances surrounding her death are still a mystery, with many wondering how she ended up in such a remote location, and what might have led to her death. The fact that she was found dressed in a witch's robe and partially submerged in a trough raises many questions about the circumstances surrounding her death, and the possibility that she might have been the victim of a ritualistic killing or a hate crime.
The investigation into her death is still ongoing, and it is hoped that one day the truth about what happened to her will be revealed, and justice will be served.
Investigators estimated that the girl found at the trough was between 14 and 20 years old. Her physical description and case details were entered into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, commonly known as NAMUS, and law enforcement released digitally enhanced composite sketches in an effort to generate leads from the public. Forensic genealogy, the same DNA-based investigative technique that helped identify the Golden State Killer Joseph DeAngelo in 2018, has been explored as a possible tool in her case, though no confirmed match has been publicly announced. The timing of the discovery in late October, combined with the witch's robe she was wearing, led some investigators to consider whether she may have been attending or traveling to a Halloween gathering before her death. Authorities in Arizona urged anyone who recognized the composite images to contact the local sheriff's office, emphasizing that even a small or seemingly unrelated detail could help them identify her and trace her final movements. In another case, a 6-year-old boy named Gary Rayhose ran away from his home, sick of the abuse from his parents, a desperate attempt to escape the trauma and suffering that he had endured for so long. Tragically, he was brought back by the police, and he was never seen again, a disappearance that has left his family and community searching for answers.
His older brother claims that his mother beat him to death and buried him on their desert property, a shocking allegation that has raised many questions about the circumstances surrounding his disappearance.
The case is a tragic reminder of the many unsolved mysteries that exist in the world, and the importance of seeking justice for those who have been wronged, and ensuring that those responsible are held accountable for their actions. Gary Rayhose's disappearance dates back to the 1960s, a period when oversight of child welfare cases in the most remote parts of Arizona was minimal at best. His older brother, Danny Hose, went public with his account years later, telling investigators and journalists that the abuse in the household was constant and severe, and that after Gary was returned home by the police, the violence only escalated. Danny stated that his mother killed Gary during a beating and that the boy's body was buried somewhere on the family's isolated desert property outside of town. Despite multiple searches of the land, no human remains have ever been recovered. The case has drawn renewed scrutiny to the systemic failures that allowed a child already known to local law enforcement to be placed back into a violent home without any follow-up welfare visit, a procedural gap that child advocacy organizations in Arizona have since pointed to when calling for mandatory post-return home checks by caseworkers. What do you think happened to Artesia Doe and Gary Rayhose? Do you believe that the Phoenix Lights were an extraterrestrial event, or was it something more mundane? Drop your theories in the comments below. Subscribe to Dark Verdict, and join us as we delve into the unknown and explore the mysteries that haunt us. Next case, the witness who saw everything and disappeared.